T-minus 25 seconds. 20 seconds and counting. T-minus 15 seconds. Guidance is internal. 12, 11, 10, 9. Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff. 32 minutes.
Is there anybody out there that wants to roll? And is there anybody out there that wants to boogie? Tonight, live from the Apollo, Glasgow.
Well, if you're looking for trouble, I'm the man to see. If you're looking for satisfaction, the satisfaction guaranteed. I'm as cool as a body on ice, hotter than the rolling dice. Send you to heaven, I'll take you to hell. I ain't fooling, can't you tell? I'm a live one.
Oh, how you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. My name is Andy Muir.
And I'm Scott MacArthur, and welcome to the Glasgow Apollo Live fan broadcast show. Brilliant to be back, folks. Good to see you all. I'm slightly less pissed than I was last week, which is probably good news for everybody. So this week, mate, what we're going to do this week? Same again?
Yep, same again.
I think so. Been a really good week for a number of reasons. But I have to say, I was fine. I was absolutely fine until I saw Toya and Peter Fripp doing Enter Sandman. Did you see it?
I saw a little bit of it.
Good Lord.
Yep.
Good Lord. I've got some photographs of Toya at the Apollo. Transformational, Andy. Transformational.
Well.
Oh, hi, Derek. How you doing? Thanks. It was incredible. I'm sure you all saw it. It was really funny, and good for her. She's a good laugh. I think it was quite funny. It really did make me laugh, though. I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah.
So anyway, tonight we've got tonight. We've got a little bit of a documentary, which is some of you will have seen it, but some of you won't. So that'll be worth seeing. And there's some funny bits that'll follow that. Quite an interesting week about how you doing, guys? Hi, thanks for saying hello. Got quite an interest in who played this week, and there's a few questions I've got for Andy. I hope he's been doing his homework. Then we've got I think that's
Why
that's
do you
to the point.
think I didn't do very well in my O levels?
I always wonder why
Okay.
some of the guys are so big
Okay.
Toya fans. Thanks, Chris. And then we've got a piece of music at the end, which is it's just pure rock and roll. Well, punk, but it's brilliant. So that's tonight. So we hope you enjoy it. And I have to say, as I said in the feed, I'm not quite sure how we'll follow up last week's show, mate, because it was brilliant. I was in tears. It was fantastic. So Tommy, if you're watching, thanks, mate. You're an absolute star. And we'll be showing some of the video footage from the I Was There musical, which if you haven't been here before, there was a musical made about the Glasgow Apollo by a guy called Tommy McGrory a few years ago now, and I were lucky to be part of that, and it was amazing. And we had Tommy on last week, so if you haven't seen it, go over to the YouTube channel. It'll be up probably tomorrow morning if you want to see the repeat show, but it was fantastic. So thank you very much, Tommy, again. So right, what do we start with, mate? There you go. Integration.
Start with that. That's right. We need this. Oh,
there you go. Well, I can see you around the edges. That's quite funny. Hello.
So, well, this week, starting at number and 50 years ago, 50 years ago, right? It was this. Keep it on, mate. I can't see it.
All right. Oh, sorry. Okay, sorry.
This is Age of Atlantic, and I kind of guessed what that was. It was a gig for a sampler record, which seems a bit weird. Or is it a gig for the band or a gig for the record? Probably a gig for the bands, introducing the bands. But yeah, that would have been a great gig. And someone told me the other in one of the posts that Dada was well, here we go again. Too early in the morning. Anyway, it's a good band. Family, and then Help Yourself. I could not find anything about them because Help Yourself is quite a hard thing to look for on the old Googles. Focus, they were upstairs in the clouds, and a lot of people were at that gig. A few people said it was very, very busy gig. And
I don't know if you looked at it on YouTube, but there is actually a bootleg of some of that gig.
Oh, is there? All right. Okay.
It's not great quality, and it's not one of Jack's rescued recordings, Andy. But it's
okay.
It'd be good for. I mean, it sounds really busy. I mean, it does sound packed.
Yeah.
If you're a Focus fan, it's there, guys. If you want to watch.
And Chuck Berry, I bet he's a bit cranky and got annoyed at the band because that's what he usually does. Or he might have been great that night. He might have just got paid up front and had a good time.
Yeah.
And not got annoyed at people. Elvis Costello and the Attractions with John Cooper Clarke and Richard Hell and the Voids supporting a wee bit of that'll be. I'm foreshadowing something there. The new Alex Harvey band, probably. I'm not sure. Was that in this sort of declining stage?
Yeah. We've got photographs of that, folks, as well. Which when I get my act together, I'll get them onto the website. But it looks really. I mean, obviously, I never saw the Alex Harvey band, the proper Alex Harvey band, but it looks really different. He doesn't look like Alex Harvey, I think, but I'm sure you guys were at it.
Yeah.
But it's very different.
Also, there's a UFO and Girl gig. That would have been good. Apparently, all reports were that Girl went that great. But and they also, funnily enough, further on down the list, they played 2 years to the date. With the same support band. I thought I'd got it wrong, but my information was correct. Also, the Boomtown Rats played on the Tuesday. That would have been a good gig too.
Yeah.
And Adam and the Ants did a 3-night sellout, I think it was. I think it was a sellout. It probably was at that time because he was super popular those days. You know. And Ultravox and You've Got Messages, but they didn't do the Messages. Someone told me it was a band called The Messengers. So yeah, I've updated it later. So it's on the site. But yeah, that would have been a good gig then. Was that when they were doing sorry, I keep peering over the side there.
I'll do that. There you go. Like, say hello.
So I keep peering over. Yeah. So that would probably, I don't know when that was. Would that have been when they were doing the Vienna times? Was it? I didn't actually do any homework on that. Sorry, people.
That's appalling.
Naughty boy.
You're letting the standards drop. That's not very impressive. Now, UFO, and I think they're one of the most underrated rock bands. I think that I've always thought they were brilliant. I mean, I saw them at the Apollo, and they were absolutely fantastic. I'm not sure. What is it? One of the guys who is quite interesting on YouTube, a guy called Rick Beato, that actually Andy introduced me to. What he says when he's not that impressed with something, he says it's not really that interesting. And I think Girl are not really that interesting, mate. I'm sure they've got fans out there, but they were kind of, I think, derivative.
Well, I think Phil Cohen went on to. Yeah, Phil Colin. He went on to play with Def Leppard. So
yeah, absolutely, he did all right, didn't he? Yeah,
right.
But the other one that
I think the singer went off to America.
Right.
And did some new wave, not new wave, but a hair metal band.
Ah, right, okay.
LA Dolls, not LA Dolls. LA Guns. Is it LA
Oh,
Guns?
right.
Yeah.
Seen LA Guns? I didn't know that. I did not know that.
think it
Well, I
was
saw
him.
him then because I saw them at the venue in Edinburgh. Anyway,
Right.
the other thing that's interesting from this week is the gig that John Cooper Clarke did supporting Elvis Costello, and we'll come back to that later on because it's quite interesting, quite funny.
I Sorry, Scott. I watched a little bit of him last week. You put that down. Put it down.
Oh, you would help.
I watched a little bit of him last week in doing a gig in Glasgow, and it was very good. Yeah,
he's excellent.
It was very good. Yeah, he is. It's like when you're younger, you see these guys and you go, "Oh man, that's a load of rubbish," but now you've got more tolerance, I reckon. So yeah, so I did watch it and I thought, yeah, he's very good, good poet, good messages, and funny and serious,
He is funny. We'll come back to it later because there's a few bits and pieces about him that we can talk about later on. But and it was a good week. It's got better, hasn't it? It was better than last week, I think.
I thought you meant just in general.
Well, yeah, there's been some other stuff happening in the world that's made it a wee bit tougher. But God's sake, what coffee are you drinking? Are you on that strong stuff again?
Yeah, yep, an espresso or something.
Oh, Bon Scott's saying that he can't see us. That's a bit annoying. Is anyone else having that problem? Hello, Bon, incidentally. Is anyone else having that problem?
Who says? Where is that?
It's in the chat. It's just saying, can you see me now? Oh, no, I can. Yes, I can see you now. Yes, sorry, I thought you were saying I can't see you. Sorry, mate, I misread that.
I think he was talking about me peeking over the side there.
Ah, right, okay. I'm just being stupid then. Thanks, that's great. That's good. Just feedback that I like.
It's just an affirmation of your stupidity.
So Steve Hall's saying, there's the guy there. His name was Phil Lewis, and he joined LA Guns. Yeah, there you go. You were right. I saw them as well, and they were actually very good live. I really enjoyed them. It might have been 80 shilling that I was drinking, but it was a good gig. I remember it very well. It was a good laugh. All right, okay, Bon. Don't worry, it wasn't just a joke. Yeah,
I knew.
He was smart enough to pick it up, wasn't he? Anyway, right. No, so moving on swiftly before we make a mess of this as well. Right, go. Website.
This week on the socials.
Have you done your homework this week?
No, sir. The dog ate my homework. Strap for you, young man. That's a strap for you. Do
you remember that? Remember this? Was it the Scud we called it, wasn't it? That leather thing with it, two taily bits on it. Jeez. Yep.
Okay, before we digress and divert. Okay, this week we have an update. We've got, oh my God, full screen. 35 new members. Thank you very much for joining. That's very much appreciated. We enjoy you guys coming on and commenting, talking, showing your new posts, putting up your tickets. Love it. I think it's amazing when people still have their tickets. And
yeah, it's amazing.
There was a guy last week. I think I'll mention him in the thing later on. But he posted his, like his folder of of tickets, and there's an amazing amount of gigs he's gone to. Yeah, good. And so there's 5,671 active members this week, and we now have there's 8,500 members. So
that's incredible.
That's a fair amount of people talking, commenting, liking, posting. Yeah, it's good. Good. I like it. It's good. I like the community we have. Sometimes it gets a bit dodgy, but that's okay.
But you have the power.
I have the power, yes. And do you want me to do the top 10?
Yeah, go for it.
Top 10 users this week. And I'll give you a little mention of what I thought was really good about them. He's still up there, top 10, because of his gig posters. He worked in the publicity department at Apollo, I think. And he's got some gig posters there that were really good. Farrell Frank. He's got lots of Rush posts. Stuart Harris. Do you know Stuart? No.
I do.
No,
yeah, he's the Bowie fan.
Yeah, I was just going to say lots of Bowie stuff from him. Bowie.
Bowie.
David Jones.
Last week, I've forgotten already. Never mind.
David Jones. Gary McDonald. He had lots of pictures. He had one of Bowie in the dressing room looking a bit morose, actually. With a, I don't know if he was. He's probably just pre-gig nerves, mate. Derek McAdam, he posted a Focus ticket. That got a lot of likes and a little comment about that. Maureen Leonard's still there. She's number 5. Number 5. That's because a lot of people commented her AC/DC, that picture you put on, and her husband there. John Henry, he did a great post about a Queen ticket, and someone put someone else had posted a picture of the gig from just where he was sitting, and then he had the seating plan. It was all very good. Yeah, it was good. So he's trying to work out if that was him in the picture. That was quite fun. Jim Grennan had AC/DC pictures with Bon Scott with Angus Young on his shoulders. And then also the real Bon Scott, or not the real Bon Scott. He had a review that got many likes.
I saw that. Yeah, Bon, brilliant. Aye,
yeah,
French.
Obviously some good pictures. We went to that gigs, those ones. Yeah. That was the AC/DC ones in 92. And number 1, 82, sorry. 80, and number 1 is William McGacken with lots of Bowie pictures and posters. And there was an ELP poster that I quite liked, that with a woman dancing with a bear. I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah, that would make a good t-shirt. Yeah, that'd be a good t-shirt. Yeah. Anyway, that's the top 10 readers, top 10 posters.
Man, there's a few things that
everyone. I love reading it all.
It's amazing. That thing that you did, Bon, with it was in French and English. Yeah, it was absolutely fantastic. If you haven't seen it, folks, it's really good. Well done. It's a brilliant article. Absolutely brilliant. There's a couple of things on the subject of t-shirts. Did you see Mark Donald posting his picture from the Who's gig at Parkhead in 1976? That was brilliant. Well done, mate. I'd have your picture up if it had time, but it was a terrific photograph. It's one of the oldest t-shirts I think I've ever seen. There's a few other things that happened, and one of them is a bit sad. Spencer King reminded us that Ronnie Van Zant, the lead singer with Lynyrd Skynyrd, had his birthday today, actually. He was born in 1948 and died obviously in a plane crash in 1977. And I've told the story before, but I don't look as good as Mark did. But this, right, I said I would wear it early in one of the early shows. This was sent to us by the band it's a while ago now. It's about 15 years ago, Andy. And it was quite nice because when they heard, we had a few bands got in touch with us when we started the website, and they sent this t-shirt, and it was in a sort of a cylinder, like a loo roll type thing, wrapped up, and in the middle of it was the biggest cigar you've ever seen in your life. And there's a wee note just saying, "Thanks from the boys in Lynyrd Skynyrd. Keep up the good work. Lots of love." Brilliant. It was absolutely fantastic. So yeah, Mark, not quite as impressive as your 1976 t-shirt, but it was still pretty good. So Spencer, thanks very much for reminding me about Ron, because he was a dude.
Yeah. It's good you're still fitting into that 15-year-old t-shirt.
Well, I'm actually about 2 stone lighter than I was back then, so it's no surprise. Other things that came up, there was one that I thought was really interesting, Andy, and I think you touched on it. John Huswood posted about AC/DC doing a tour in 1976. The Radio Clyde tour that they used to do, these Radio Clyde. I remember going to see the Almighty. I don't know if you remember the Almighty. They were brilliant on one of these tours. And they played in like Kilmarnock, East Kilbride. They played at Napier College. And it was like 75 pence to 90 pence a ticket. Absolutely brilliant. And Paul McBain mentioned about the gig at East Kilbride, the Olympia, that they had to, it's quite funny, they had to move their equipment back. AC/DC had to move their equipment back because the headline act, Tiger Tim, was coming on the stage. So, and I thought that was lovely. And Tiger's a nice guy. So, but I mean, I'd love to have seen photographs of that. I've had a quick look. I'm not as forensic as Andy at finding these things, but I've not been able to find anything. There was an article that was written when DC played at Hampden recently, but about it, but there was no photographs. So, but that must have been brilliant seeing AC/DC in pubs and colleges, etc. It must have been magic.
Last week I listened to a a rescued recording from from a pub in London, AC/DC recording from a pub in London. It was brilliant. It was very good. It probably was about the same time.
It would be. I mean, that's a famous tour, that. So, but I had no idea, Andy, that they'd come and done a Scottish part of that. Brian Wilson saying he's got loads of pics and a ticket stub from bygone gigs in the Apollo Greens house. But when I joined the RAF, my mother-in-law...
oh, dear.
Oh, come on. Well, never mind, mate. These are the things that happen. But and Louise is just saying,
you'll just have to go to the website and look at them there.
Yes,
yeah.
We've got that's quite funny. Louise saying that she's remembering her hair, her flared trousers, and her tank tops. Photographs onto Facebook, please, Louise. Come on, we need evidence of that. We need evidence of that. The other thing that caught my eye, and it's probably my bias towards rock and roll, but there was a post by Brian Coles where he did this, Andy. I don't know if you've seen these yet.
Yep, I saw them. I love that bit. I love when Phil Lynnett's guitar catches the mirror on the guitar, catches the light. It's amazing.
Unbelievable. Now, there is a bit of debate on Facebook whether it was 1978 or 1976, this gig. And somebody said, it doesn't matter. Of course it doesn't matter. But I think somebody did say that Phil Lynott wore a Scotland top for the whole of the 78 gig because Scotland had qualified for Argentina. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. I have no idea. We do have other photographs so that we will release of the 78 gig. Definitely 78 gig. I've got about 10, 15 photographs from that show. So we'll get them up on the site shortly as well. But that was brilliant. I loved it. And it's definitely the Apollo guys, isn't it? There's no question that it's the Apollo. Yeah. And that's Brian Robertson, isn't it?
Yep.
I think it looks like him. Yeah. And I only really saw him when he did that. Remember at the Thunder and Lightning tour when he walked on and did a couple of songs, I think. And I saw him playing guitar for Fish and Frankie Miller. So, but I never saw him.
He played guitar for Fish.
Yeah, he did. He played in the. When would that have been? That would have been early 90s, mate. Yeah, he did a whole tour. Yeah, he was very good as well. Yeah, he was excellent. I mean, it was the Harrington Bear convention that Fish used to have. And it was the year. I remember when I moved down to Ingerland, moved to Altrincham. You remember that way back? Yeah. It was that year, whatever year that was. I can't remember, but it was that year. But
long time ago.
Oh, for God's sake! The Chuckster music was last week. So that was it. There's a whole lot of other things going on, and honestly, I could keep going on because there was so much activity this week. It's fantastic, and as Andy says, it's amazing. I mean, I go into it every day now because we've started to revitalize it because of this show, and I'm absolutely amazed by it. Honestly, it's amazing. So thank you very, very much. And I know there's a lot of folk watch it that are ghosts. We've had members of bands. We've had press people speaking to us about it, and it's brilliant. So. I've actually sent something to Radio Scotland. I think we're going to hopefully get something on Radio Scotland soon about what's been going on here because it's important, I think. So I've got somebody actually came on and said to me that I should send something to that one of the agents, so I did. But we'll see how it goes, guys. Keep your fingers crossed. We'll get a bit of publicity as well for this because I think it's what we're doing together is brilliant. What's this? Got a wee part of his leg when he passed by. Who? Angus Young. Who said that?
Yeah, it probably was.
Yeah, it probably was. Oh, maybe Rob. Oh no, wait a minute. No, wait a minute. Bond's saying it was Robbo. Maybe she's talking about Robbo. Who are you talking about? Was there? Oh, see all these folk were at that Thin Lizzy gig. I'm getting jealous now. Right. Right, I'm going to. This is the bit of the show where Scott starts to moan, but I'm actually not going to moan much this week. But next up. Right. As some of you will know, we're trying to collect some video memories of our time at the Glasgow Apollo, and we've had about 10 now, so it's actually double figures, Andy.
That's good.
It's good.
Someone just on Facebook said it's cultural history never to be forgotten. Leading nicely into what you're going to say.
That is exactly what I think, and I genuinely believe it, because there are friends of ours that have passed away. The sort of the original rockers, the guys that were listening to the Beatles and Grand Funk Railroad and Led Zeppelin in the 60s, and they've died. They were in their 30s and 40s then, and they're gone. And I want them. I want to grab these memories. I want them online. So, guys, if you want to get involved, please do. And as I've said before, I've got some minor capability doing videos, so I can. If you want to do it, get in touch with me. And I know a couple of folks said last week that they wanted, so please contact me. I'll just put the email address up in case anybody's forgotten it. Hang on, sorry, there you go. And I'll do a Zoom call with you. We'll do it privately, and I'll edit it, and it'll be done. It'll be done in 10 minutes, right? So don't feel. I know it's quite daunting for folk, and I appreciate that, and it's daunting enough for me. But if you want to do it, please do it. And I've had some cracking stories written and sent to us, but I would like them in video. I really would like them in video. So if you could, that would be fantastic. So the one we're going to show this week. Doug. Now, Doug's been on. He's been on before. In terms of he's the guy that did a little trailer for us, and I think this is magic what he's done. Now, Doug is actually a film. He works in film, so he's got talent. This boy, and boy, can you tell, Andy, when you see this. And I think it's well worth watching it together. So I'll turn Andy and I's cameras off, and we'll put this on because it's.
The anticipation of a gig here at the Glasgow Apollo was always brilliant. It was amazing. The days, at school, you'd be waiting to go, and it was just brilliant. The first time I came here was to see a Stranglers gig, and I remember when I was walking to my seat, looking at the stage and just thinking how brilliant it looked, all draped in black, and the band's gear all set up, and I knew something magic was going to happen. It was brilliant. I remember the best place to be for the gig was over here, down at the front, where everybody's jumping around and all packed in. And we'd get so packed in, you could actually lift your feet off the ground sometimes and just be carried along with everyone. I mean, it was great fun. It was probably kind of dangerous, but it was really great. But it always amazed me actually if someone did trip and fall over, suddenly the circle would just open up of people would jump in, grab the people off the floor, get them up. So I never saw anyone get hurt. So they wouldn't get trampled. And I remember it being like that. Everyone was very friendly, and it was, it was just great fun. Everyone was there to have a good time. At some shows, the bouncers did manage to stop us getting down there, and we'd be sent back to stay at our seat. I say at our seat rather than in our seat because nobody was sitting down. It was never like that at the shows, except for one time. As soon as the lights went down, everybody would be on their feet, and the shouting and the yelling would start, and I mean the energy was incredible. And it really didn't stop until the house lights came back on at the end of the show, and everyone would be hoarse and sweating and horrible. And then you'd have the freezing cold outside to face because, like I say, you'd be dripping wet with sweat. Your clothes, everything was just soaked. And it was usually pretty damn cold outside. And I've never ever heard the kind of energy that was at these shows anywhere else. And I mean, I think that's why bands always said it was the best gig in Britain, if not the world. It really was something special. You know, we gave everything, and they gave back, and that's why the shows were so good. It really was amazing. Um, the quietest show I ever went to here was the first time I saw Dire Straits in '82, and me and a buddy, we were just up over there in the balcony. We were in the front row, and everybody sat down for the whole show. And I remember being a bit frustrated by that because I wasn't used to that. You know, we were usually over here, you know, and but it was an amazing, amazing show, and it changed everything for me. I became a lifelong fan of Martin Knopfler's music after that, and I actually started listening to a lot of different kinds of music as a result of that show, because it really opened my eyes to other possibilities out there. The funny thing is, we hadn't even got tickets for the show. My friend and I, we just turned up. He was more of a fan of them at the time than I was. And we turned up at the door, hopeful that, you know, we'd maybe be able to buy one off somebody. And sure enough, there was a guy who actually had some spare tickets for family members who couldn't come. And he sold them to us for face value, a whopping £6.50. So that was a good deal, and it was the front row of the balcony. It was a great seat, especially since we were sitting down. It was really good. And the funny thing is, actually, my friend and I, our ears had actually only just stopped ringing that day, because 3 days prior we'd gone to see the Michael Schenker group, and you know, we were just sitting over there in the stalls, and for that one, and that was a real headbanging air guitar fest. You know, probably the loudest gig I ever saw here. I mean, it was really amazing. A lot of energy at that one. I saw Adam and the Ants here, and they were supported by Altered Images with Claire Grogan, and it was the first time I'd ever heard of them, and I think they were probably the best support act that I ever saw here. I was really quite taken by them, and I actually bought some of their records afterwards as a result, because normally the support acts were, you know, you watched them and it was just like, yeah, but they were good. I thought they were really good. I don't remember ever seeing the balcony bounce. I never experienced that. I don't remember ever being aware that it did at the time. My attention was always on the stage, so I wasn't looking back the way. And I don't remember anyone ever actually talking about it either. Apart from the Dire Straits gig, the only ticket I ever got for the balcony was I was late getting tickets for a Stranglers gig, and so I ended up there with my friend, and the two of us, after a couple of attempts, we managed to skip into the stalls, and we ended up back over here for the rest of the gig. That was pretty early on in the show. We managed to get down, so again, I managed to miss the whole experience of the bouncing balcony. I don't remember the smell of the place either. I know there was a smell because I remember talking about it. I just don't remember what it was, but I do remember the sticky carpet. As soon as you walked in, you'd be stuck. You know, you'd feel it as you're walking through the place. It was pretty grim. But a lot of people smoked in the place, of course, as well in those days, and the air would be full of smoke. So that's probably why I don't really remember the smell. You're smelling smoke all the time. It definitely enhanced the spotlight effects when the show was going on. All the smoke that kind of enhanced and made it look pretty cool. Again, added to the magic. You wouldn't get away with that nowadays. They have to use smoke machines now. I think somebody said, I think it was Chris Glenn, bassist from Sensational Alex Harvey Band, amongst others, he said that the Glasgow audiences were probably the only audience in Britain that would put up with the state of this place. And I don't ever remember thinking, ugh. I loved it. I came here, I mean, all my friends, nobody ever talked about it really, I mean, I guess it was mentioned occasionally, but most of the time nobody was talking about what state it was. It was just the magic of the place. And I never cared. As a teenager, I never cared. Pure magic happened here. And I have really good memories of all of it. And I'm glad I was.
There you go. What do you think of that?
That was great.
What a good.
That's very good.
I love
How
that.
How did he get back to the Apollo?
I know. He's very clever. He's for Hollywood. He's for Hollywood. We've had loads of comments here. I'll just go through them because there's some really good ones. But Doug, that was Doug Forrest over in the United States. Doug, you're a star. I thought that was magic, and I loved it the way he was saying over there. You know, he's pointing as if he was actually in the place. It was just magic. So well done, mate. It's absolutely top notch. So we've got quite a few comments, Andy. I'll just go through a few of them because I think we're okay time wise. This is Brian Wilson saying Fish was on his Fish on Friday show tonight, and he actually was talking about the Harrington gig. Really? I need to listen because I mean I'm a big Marillion fan and I love Fish, but I never listened to it. I haven't listened to it for the last 2 weeks actually, so I have to listen to it. But that was a brilliant show because it was very intimate. And my ex-wife and I used to live in Harrington, and we had a flat. Were you ever at that? I think you were, weren't you? My wee house side. And there's a pub called I think it's the Meerkat or the Market or the Meerkat pub in Harrington. I used to go in there. That was my local, and Fish was in there all the time. So, and actually, we actually interviewed him, not personally. It was when we were making the documentary with the guys from Talisman, and he's in that. So maybe one week we'll show that because Marillion never only ever played the Apollo once, but it was a very special night. And you know, I think I've said this to you before, Andy. There's a photograph that I've seen. It was Stuart Campbell that took it, and it's Fish lying on his stomach with a huge microphone reaching out over the cliff on the stage.
Yeah. I've seen that too.
It might be in one of our newsletters from 10 years ago. It might be. Have a look and see. It's not on the disc, and I'd really like to send it to Fish. But it's a brilliant photo. Absolutely captures the moment. So that's fantastic. So yeah,
I've seen that one.
Well, if you've seen it, I want to see it again because I have not seen it for ages. And then, as Bond said, you know, and I think Brian Forrest gave a great example there. You know, cultural history never be forgotten. I loved the fact that he tarted it up and made it sparkle in the background. It was just fantastic.
That's good.
And Bond there's just saying that him and Cheryl will do one once the travel ban is over. Yeah, absolutely. We understand that, and we must stick to what we're supposed to be doing. I guess.
Dude, it's on video.
I know, but they're going to do it together, mate. Come on.
Oh, right. Okay.
Oh, God's sake. And I think this is Cheryl as well saying, oh no, this is Graham. Graham McDonald saying the video is coming, it's coming. We're trying to stave off an insurrection over here. Yeah, I saw that. I hope you're all right, and I hope everything's going to end up well over there because regardless of the, you know, it's not good. I hope things improve, Graham, and I hope you were never went anywhere near it. I can't believe it. I mean, I worked in Washington a fair bit and used to walk around there. Can't believe it. The security was incredible when I used to work there. So it's quite scary. And here's a call. This is from Bon again. Yeah. Okay. Thanks very much. Keep it clean, please. Yeah. And something just reminiscing about the bouncing ball. Now that was interesting that Doug had never seen that because I remember the Radio Clyde mic. You know the Radio Clyde, the main one that used to hang down in the middle. That used to do that. I remember that vividly.
Well, Doug didn't. I think Doug's online, but I don't. Yeah, Doug's online, but I don't think he went to a core gig. So
no, or a
core gig or an AC/DC gig would have probably.
Yeah,
well, that's something I experienced. There's probably more. You know.
Yeah. I remember actually somebody was talking about UFO earlier. One of the things that used to happen at the Apollo, and I'm probably talking nonsense, but I've never seen it in any other venue, and I've been to hundreds of venues all over the place. They used to always play a song before the band came on at full volume.
Yes.
And they used to play Doctor Doctor by UFO quite a lot.
When you
I don't know why,
came,
but they did. And I remember the place going absolutely mental for that song, and the microphone bouncing up and down, you know.
Right.
So it was.
You know, I've got a memory of seeing Iron Maiden or something, or Thin Lizzy. I think it was Thin Lizzy, and it was the first time I'd heard Nutbush.
Really?
And I was sitting in my chair. I was standing beside a broken heap of sawdust.
Chair. Yeah.
I was lounging on a piece of blue velvet, and I just heard this quack, 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 quack. I was like, what the hell is that? It was the first time I'd heard it, and I was like, oh man. Next time I heard it, Kelvin Grove, Glasgow played it.
Glasgow. We need to talk about them a bit more on another show, mate, because they were good fun. They were good fun. But,
well, what I'd like to see would be a few weeks back, someone posted that they had photographed Glasgow there. That would be a weird thing to do. I think they were doing like the sound check for the Radio Clyde broadcast, so they brought them in to do the sort of pre-recording sort of setup.
Right.
That would have been, they probably recorded that too, but I bet you they didn't. I bet you they recorded it and binned it. Imagine playing the Apollo and having no audience.
It must have been like COVID, mate. Like COVID. There is and I apologise if the regulars will have heard me say this before, but there is a treasure trove. There really is a treasure trove of recordings, because one of the guys who was a regular there, and he's still alive, recorded loads of the gigs on reel to reel from the cinema pool, you know, the wee bit at the upstairs, Andy, you know, the bit upstairs.
Projection room?
That's the one. That's the one.
Yes.
One of the things that makes this show unique is that neither of us can remember half of what we're talking about. Between us, we just about have a brain. But this guy has got these recordings, and there's a couple of folk working on it. We'll see what happens. It's a long story, but you never know. There might be a Glasgow one there, and amongst it all, Andy. And here's Born Again. I posted on the Aussie Rock Fans site that all the best Aussies came from Scotland. Yeah, I don't think there's any argument about that. 2 AC/DC fans and Jimmy Barnes fans here, so you're not going to get any argument from that. And then someone else is saying that it might have been Iron Maiden that we heard Doctor. Oops, sorry, wrong one. It might have been because Steve Harris was a massive Pete Way fan. Wouldn't surprise me. And we both went to multiple Maiden gigs, so it could have been that. My memory is that it was loads of other gigs, but I'm not trusting my memory on that anymore. And what's this one? Got a few pics of Glasgow playing the Ponderosa out Linwood Way. Brilliant. I used to love them. The spandex was magic. Stick them on the Facebook thing. I'd like to see them. It'll be quite cool. So anyway, thanks guys. Now look, there you go. Yeah. We played a video, loads of conversation. We could probably keep talking about it, what Doug Forrest did for another hour, and that just proves the point. I mean, Doug, again, mate, I know you're there now. I can see you're there. Brilliant. Absolutely fantastic. We so appreciate it.
Yeah.
So do you mind if I move on now, mate? Can we go on to the next bit?
Move along.
I think we can move along. Right. Now, next up, if I can find the thing, and I've found it. Hold on. There we go. Now, because of what was on this week and all the other things have been happening, and Andy, just purely by coincidence, sent me an idea about what we could show this week. And I watched the whole of this show. It's a documentary. It was made, well, sort of soap-umentary. What would you call it? Apollo Countdown? What would you call it? I don't know what you call it. Yeah, it was weird. And it was good. Alvin Stardust.
It
is weird. Incidentally, I met Alvin Stardust a few times, and he was lovely. And I'll tell you what, that man could sing. I did some charity gigs down. I was part of down at the Armadillo with Carolyn McFarlane. Hi, Carolyn, if you're there. And he was the main man, and he was just brilliant. Anyway, he was the host. But in amongst the sort of silly, some of it, sorry, that's not fair. It was like amateur dramatic type stuff that they tried to dramatize it with. It's not bad. I'm glad they made it. In amongst it were some interviews with the bands. And there's a little clip here I want to show you, and you'll get the relevance because it's just all linked to what we've been talking about. It's only a couple of minutes, this one. So again, I'll put me and Andy off.
I don't think there are any other people in any other part of the British Isles that would actually sit in such a disgraceful, filthy place to go and see the bands and the people that they really want to support. The Apollo, if it had been maintained and looked after, still could have the magnificent ballroom. It still could have probably the top balcony. There's so much space and things behind stage. They could have built nice dressing rooms. They could have built. I mean, there's no place even that the kids could have buy a sandwich or have a drink in there. They could have built nice, but they could have really made that place something very special.
I think Glasgow, it was a very special gig. I mean, it was always a gig like Newcastle was another one that you could always rely on it being a special night. Some gigs, you know, I mean, London was always patchy because sometimes you get a very blasé audience in London. Whereas in Glasgow, you always felt they were so pleased to see you that they would always, you know, all you had to do was do what you did the best you could, and they'd always enjoy it. And I've never liked the sight of the dress circle going up and down 9 inches when you actually, especially when you're on a level with it, you're seeing these kids go up and down, you think, God, you know, there's about 2,000 kids down there, there's 1,000 kids going to jump on top of them in a minute. The dressing rooms downstairs were always a bit in the old days. I mean, we played there pretty much year in, year out with Genesis up until about 75, 76. In fact, we played there in 76. And then we probably had a break from doing any English tours till 1980. But we always played there, and the facilities got a little nicer. There was television in the dressing room, wallpaper on the walls, things like that.
On the Unicorn days as well, I saw the change from Greens to the Apollo when they covered the place in glitter and, you know, refurbished the whole thing. They dyed the It's Good, It's Greens carpet, which is wonderful. I'd love to have some of it. It's wonderful carpet. It was all specially made for them. They had tons of it upstairs somewhere that had never been used, so they dyed it all so different colours and things. And I remember the refurbishment well.
I mean, it might sound as if I'm a sort of hygiene fanatic, but I wouldn't stand on the carpet because it was always wet. And it was much too fierce, you know, to talk about. I didn't quite know what it was, but I didn't want to stand on it. So when I do my quick changes, you know, when everything comes off and I'm standing there in my little bare feet, I used to stand on a towel rather than stand on the carpet. It was just hideous. I wouldn't use the loo.
We had a good one there, actually. The stage has really got to be the highest stage in the world. And of course, we used to tell all the American nights because that's because of the Glasgow punters, pal, you know. I mean, you've got to keep them back, you know. And we played there one night, and there was 2 guys actually made it onto the stage. I don't know how they did it. And the bouncers were going to throw them off, and we were saying, no, give them a prize. How did they get up there, you know? And they did, they made it.
From an atmosphere point of view, it was always very special. I think it was special for every band that ever played there. I mean, at our real height in 1973, I mean, we used to have to get in and out of the theatre with police escorts in police vans and everything. It was real heady days, those. Good though.
It's the only time in my life that I've actually been booed on. I actually did. I mean, I should have, and because the Apollo was like that. It was a watershed in a lot of people's careers. I know a lot of people who never played again after they played the Apollo.
They were always very enthusiastic. It was always a sort of a good gig, and it was always a good place to play because there was sort of a terrific energy coming from the audience.
Terrible. Glasgow Apollo I think holds more people than the Brixton Academy, which is like over 4,000 people under one roof, right? So it's all got a lid on it, right? And you got all these people, 4,000 people, you know, these hideous, spotty cavemen in RAF overcoats banging their heads on the seats in front, you know, and they hated me. It's a very extreme experience to have 4,500 people hating you all at the same time.
John Part there. He's very funny, isn't he?
He is. I was watching a later interview, and he said he didn't know if it was hatred or indifference. You know, people looking at him going, "What? What are you about, man? What are you about?"
Very funny. I recommend these.
Can you? Well, I know you've done public speaking, Scott, but can you imagine walking on stage to quite a hostile audience, going, growling at you?
Ian Bamford saying, "I've still got my RAF coat."
Does it fit though?
Yeah. My mum chucked mine out. My mum chucked mine out. Yeah, she did. It was appalling. Absolutely appalling. She's. I don't know where she is. I chucked her out. I don't know where she's gone. There's Cheryl's just said about the carpets. She always wondered why there was big rolls of carpet behind the last row and the gods. There's a few stories about the carpets, and there's one which is not made up. It's true that Rod Stewart, when they closed the place, he got some of that carpet and he carpeted his games room in his house with It's Good It's Green's carpet. And there are photographs. I remember seeing one ages ago. I've never looked for it, so it might still be on. Well, it will still be on the interwebs somewhere. But it was, the carpet was quite famous. I thought Barbara Dixon was a bit Barbara Dixon.
No, I think if you were, if you've got to take your shoes off and stand on a mucky, mouldy, fusty carpet, man, I'd be wanting to tell.
She grew up playing gigs in pubs. They'd be folk throwing pints of heavy at her. You know, come on.
But when you get to a certain point in your career, you don't want to be standing about in your, your bare feet on a squidgy bloody carpet.
And then Bond's saying you couldn't beat Noddy Holder at the Apollo. Slade were we only really saw Slade in that when they reformed in the mid '80s, and I saw them at Donington, and they were absolutely brilliant. And I'm jealous that you saw Noddy, because what a voice did that man have. And I like the fact he hasn't come back. You know what I mean? Because I think the fact that he just stopped in the 80s and never came back again is a good thing, because there's no way he'd still be able to sing like that. Well, it'd be unusual if he could, but what a voice, man. What a voice. Absolutely brilliant.
I listened to a podcast this week, and it was Brian Johnson was on it, and he was being interviewed, and he said that he goes, "Oh, Noddy Holder, what a voice."
That's a brilliant Bangladeshi accent you've got there, mate.
Hey.
Sorry.
That's usually a Scottish person. That's usually an English person doing a Scottish
accent. I know. That was actually quite good. Better than me, mate. I remember. He was extraordinary. Louise is just saying, hi, Louise. I remember seeing Bear Robertson in the foyer of the Apollo before the Blondie gig. Oh, really? In '79? As we all know, it was the show that was live on the telly. Yeah, absolutely. I
like that, but he said he was booed on.
I think that's good as well. And this is Brian Wilson. Hi, Brian. I once saw a guy climb on stage during an Aussie gig. Really? Oh, I don't remember that. The bouncers went to throw him off. But Aussie, I remember that. Aussie, tell him to fuck off and leave him alone. He deserves a medal. And Aussie hugged him. Yeah, I think a pal of yours, Brian. Oh, what's his second name? Brian. Went to school with him. Drummond has got photographs from the Albany from that gig, and there was two, wasn't there? There was two Aussie gigs. There was one where he had shaved his hair and it was all bloody and messy. And I remember there was some hassle with that. But here's some feedback for you, mate, from Chris Welsh. Stick to the day job.
I don't have a day job.
Anyway, look,
I need someone to fall back on. It's me or Mike Yarwood.
Andy's response. I'm not going to repeat Andy's response on the social to that. Right. Anyway, so we've come to the end.
What are you talking about?
Oh God, come to the end. Look, it's amazing how we're doing. We can do an hour without thinking, can't we? I mean, it really could go on for 2 or 3 hours.
Yes, we can do an hour without thinking. Yes, you're quite right.
Do you know, last week I was well refreshed, but last week I think we went on to 1 a.m. on the Zoom after show. So I hope it doesn't go on that long time. It might. You never know. So anyway, if we've got one more thing to play, and we'll say cheerio. But if you want to join us after, we have the after show Zoom chat, which is a chat and a drink. It's not led by me and Andy, it's just a chat and a drink. And the Zoom link is on Facebook at the top where I put the post for this show. I'll also repost it because sometimes folks say it's quite awkward to find. I don't know how to do it better, but I'll try to do it. Come and join us. It's a good laugh. And God knows at the moment, some of us need a good laugh given what's going on in the world. So anyway, tonight's flew quicker than a sturgeon COVID ban.
Hey, I know this is a topic, right? But I was, I was watching. Oh, it's actually on topic now, but it's a bit off Apollo. But I didn't know that you could buy a pint from a pub.
What?
And take it away. Can you buy a pint and take it away? Is that a thing?
No. Who told you that?
I don't know. I was watching Janie Godley, so maybe I don't know. I might have been ill-informed.
All right. Okay. I mean, I think maybe during COVID, or as my dad calls it, COVIDs. Maybe during COVID. COVIDs. Have you got the COVID, son? No, I've not got the COVIDs, Dad. You're all right. I think.
Get back to Zoom.
I know. I'm sorry. But there are some pubs doing like polypack bins and stuff. You know, the 4-pint things you can take away. So that might be what's happening. Yeah. And there's someone else saying, there's somebody saying you could. Chris is saying you could actually do it during lockdown. Fine. Yeah. There you go. And it's true. Certainly where I live in the Cotswolds, it's not true. But you've got to fight past the pensioners here. Anyway, look, that's been brilliant. So we're going to end, well, not quite end, but nearly end with a piece of music as we always do. Now, let me just get this onto the right page, or I'm not going to do this properly. Here we go. Now, I tried to find a piece of music from a band that played this week, from the list that Andy managed to get through in the end at the beginning of the show. And I couldn't find any, which is a bit disappointing. We need to find some, Andy, for next year.
Well, I wonder, do you think it's maybe because pop fans couldn't be arsed recording stuff?
Maybe, but I mean, I would personally like to hear, there's Adam and the Ants for a start. I'd like to hear that. That would be brilliant. And I noticed online, there's a lot of that tour online. I can't, UFO, there isn't, well, maybe Jack, if you're there, let us know. I couldn't find a UFO gig recorded. Now, there must be a UFO gig.
Yeah.
There must be. Anyway,
Boomtown Rats as well would be good.
Aye, absolutely. Absolutely. Anyway, so what I did find was one of the, I'll give you a clue. You could play the whole album in 5 minutes. Right? That's who I found. And the incredible and extraordinary Ramones, and they have now released this as an album. And this isn't the recording that they used in the album. This is a much rawer recording of probably one of their most famous songs, Blitzkrieg Bop. Now, my youngest boys, who are 11 and 8, he's nearly 8, they love this song because it's used in so many movies and adverts that it's quite a famous song. But you'll get why I like this, I think, when you hear it. It's a Ramones song, so it's a couple of minutes long. But this is the Ramones playing in the 19th of January at the Apollo in 1977. So my goodness, the Ramones in 1977. This was the noise that the Ramones made. bet you that was mental.
Yeah.
I bet it was
Was
mad.
that KDK?
Eh? You've no idea how long it took me to find that little video thing, mate. And I had to make it transparent as well.
It's great. It's good. It's good. The music's good too.
The a pal of mine, John, was at that gig, and he used to wear, you know, those big Doc Martens. You know, those big, the sort of the ones that went up to almost your knee. You know those ones. You know the ones the punks used to wear.
Yeah.
And he said it was so wild that his Doc Marten got ripped off. So Ramones fans were clearly very genteel sorts, but actually he was at Manchester. Say again?
You should have done the laces up.
Actually, it was the Manchester gig he was at, not the Glasgow gig. But isn't that amazing? That it must have been wicked. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. I've never been a big Ramones fan. I quite like the sort of, they're interesting, as Rick Beato would say. They're sometimes interesting. I listened to the whole of that bootleg though, and actually it's pretty good. The energy is amazing, and it's classic Glasgow Apollo in terms of the audience. It's brilliant. So I wish I was actually at the gig now. So I'm going to finish, Andy, if you're all right with this, with a quote from somebody, because I couldn't find any music from the Boomtown Rats from this week. And, you know, the main man, Bob Geldof, I know not everybody likes him and all the rest of it. I think he's great. I think he's fantastic. But he was a massive Apollo head. Massive Apollo head. And one of the things he said, guys, just before we finish, was this. And this was when they were talking about closing the Apollo down. And he said a few things. In fact, we used them on one of our T-shirts and stuff. But this, I thought, was brilliant. And he said the only thing that should happen to the Apollo is that it should be torn down brick by rock fans. Well, a rock band played Scotland the Brave at 50,000 watts. The man liked the Apollo, so he's all right by me. So we're done. Let's just see if there's anything else on the what's this here? The bouncers took the laces. Yeah, you could be right, mate. And thanks very much for saying it's a fantastic show. It's been a good show. Really enjoyed it. You all right, mate? You enjoyed that?
I did. Thank you.
Brilliant. So back again next week. Andy's going to do his research for a change. I'm going to pretend I know what I'm talking about. Nah. And thanks very much.
Research? What are you talking about?
You said you didn't do any research. And I actually think it was noticeable, mate. It was noticeable. It was appalling. Oh, there you go. You saw his research. Anyway, so thanks very much for tuning in from me and Andy. We love you guys. And I hope some of you come join us on Zoom. My name is Scott MacArthur.
My name is Andy Muir. Thank you very much for joining us tonight.
Cheers, guys.